Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. One of my favorite videos that I get to make each and every year is when WWE wrestlers are named to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. I believe that the WWE Hall of Fame, even though it's been rumored so many times to be a real physical place that you can go to, I remember it was supposed to be Orlando on the Universal City Walk at one time. But it just never came to be. But I don't think there's any better accomplishment that a WWE wrestler could get for their career is going up on the stage and giving a speech the night before WrestleMania it used to be. In the last few years, it has really seemed hard to get names to go up there. There's only so many so-called main eventers to get that main event spot. And, we're getting to the point now where we're getting to the nitty gritty for names to go in there. I think that, Triple H, I think that Michelle McCool, I think that Lex Luger, all three good names to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. And I think they should cap it off at that. But tonight on SmackDown, they're going to be releasing the first iconic moment to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. As of right now, I guess the Warrior Award is done. The Warrior Award kind of turned into something that it wasn't really what Ultimate Warrior asked it to be. But Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania is going to go into the Hall of Fame. To be the first match named to go into the Hall of Fame, I think is a huge accomplishment for Bret and Austin. It was a damn good match. It was a match that really put Stone Cold Steve Austin on the match. I don't think if he would have had that match, I don't think Stone Cold would have been what he was a year later for Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14. The No Holds Barred match came at a time when WWE was really having to rework WrestleMania. The plan on the table was Bret versus Shawn. It was supposed to be a rematch of their Iron Man match for the WWF Championship. Shawn saw the writing on the wall that he wasn't going to win, and he didn't want to do any favors for Bret the Hitman Hart. That's, of course, when he, said that he had lost his smile. He was going back home, and he just was done. And Vince had to sit down and basically rework the entire WrestleMania. And, how it sort of got put together. Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't even know the match was going to happen. He was sitting at home. He wasn't being used on Raw. He had the TV show on, and he heard Vince McMahon talking about how him and Austin were going to be involved in a submission match at WrestleMania. And Stone Cold was sitting there thinking to himself that he didn't even have a finisher, a submission finisher in his arsenal of moves. And how the hell were they going to be able to do this? The match, of course, Ken Shamrock. A lot of people thinking that he's going to be named the WWE Hall of Fame. Maybe he's just going to be there, and that's how they're going to get it kind of mixed up. Ken Shamrock being the special guest referee for that match was huge. Of course, after the match of him being the special guest referee, he transitioned into becoming a wrestler. But at that time, he was coming out of UFC. He was a name. He was a big name. I don't want to say that he was like a celebrity like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that. But basically, WWF was looking for some way to steal some of the pay-per-view buys from the company that was UFC. UFC wasn't even really what UFC is today. It really transitioned into a different company. If you go back and you watch the first few episodes of UFC that were pay-per-view specials, it was like Mortal Kombat. The video game, it just basically was what would happen if we put a Taekwondo master with a a Yokozuna dude. We'll just put a big fat guy in there with him, and we'll see, who's able to get the win. And that's kind of what it was. And I remember my dad loved it. I looked at it like I thought it could be good, but when I found out it was real, it kind of turned me off. It doesn't really make any sense to me. If it would have been like pro wrestling, with more, lights and bells and whistles and storylines, I think I would have got into it more. But when they were just basically just feeding guys to the wolves, it just turned me off. I'd rather have two guys fighting over who stole somebody's leather jacket or something like that on Monday Night Raw. But Shamrock being a ref in that match was really, really good. Of course, the one thing that everybody remembers is Stone Cold Steve Austin getting all bloody. His character at the time would not submit. He would not give the benefit to Bret the Hitman Hart. So, of course, as he's dripping blood from his face, he passes out from the pain. Bret the Hitman Hart gets the win. Bret, of course, doing the babyface thing at the time is to be a heel. He doesn't, let go of the move, which in turn, turns him in the time. It was one of the first really big double turns at a time when we really didn't know what it was. I mean, the last one that I remember was from Survivor Series with Demolition and the Powers of Pain involving Mr. Fuji. I don't want to knock this match at all. It is one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time, honestly, in my opinion. I remember when they were tossing this around, 10, 11 years ago at WrestleMania 30, they were thinking of inducting WrestleMania 1, the main event, into the Hall of Fame, and I think that's where the cutscene came to be. The backstage segment with Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, and Paul Orndorff. But they've never really done it. But I think WWE has backed themselves into a corner with this whole TKO business. They are trying to milk wrestling fans dry. They are still announcing tickets. Last night I heard of them charging $600 a fan to be one of the first fans to go into a store and buy more merchandise. Not the WWE Superstore or anything like that, but it's just, Rhea Ripley's going to be there. Omos is going to be there. I didn't even know Omos was still in the company. The last time I saw him in a match was the last year's Royal Rumble. That's the last time that I remember seeing him there. $600. WWE's, they've announced the clubs that are going to be like WrestleMania at dark, or after midnight, I think they call it, or something like that. They announced the meet and greet. They're charging $600 to meet the Usos. I got no clue. I do remember Flo Rida, who I think is going to be one of their performers. The other three performers, I wouldn't know who the hell they were. What's going on? Who I give my money to. That's. I pretty much talk about it on here, so you can't really say that I'm not going to be throwing it around that weekend. But TKO is trying to milk everybody dry to make sure that there's nothing left for WrestleMania 41. I've said that this is going to be one of my last WrestleManias, and I can understand if it's going to be a lot of other people's ones. I think that it was a late announcement that they were going to have a physical Hall of Fame ceremony that was not going to be held after SmackDown like they've done since WrestleMania 37. That was going to be over at the Fontainebleau. I think they need help selling those tickets. I don't think they've done well selling the roast of WrestleMania tickets. I think it's poor planning, too late planning, and just not. I mean, you can't drop everything at once. And maybe next year will be better because they're going to know what works, what they're bringing back. If they bring everything back, you sort of got to let people know, when these things are coming out. Not just day of, boom, hey, we just made something else. Hey, boom, hey, we made something else. I don't know. Congratulations, Bret and Austin. Ken Shamrock, I give you honestly, honorable mentions. You know, you can't have the match without a referee, and he did a pretty damn good job of being intimidating to both guys, that he wasn't going to back down. And if he, got any lip from them, he was able to take him down. He was not Earl Hebner. He was not any other WWF official at the time. So, Bret, Austin, Wrestlemania match, first match inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.